Alright, guys, I'm back with another chapter in 2 Samuel. We're in 2 Samuel chapter 20, where the header reads, The Revolt of Sheba, and we'll get right into it. There happened to be a troublemaker there named Sheba, son of Bichri, a man from the tribe of Benjamin. Sheba blew a ram's horn and began to chant, Down with the dynasty of David. We have no interest in the son of Jesse. Come on, you men of Israel, back to your homes. So all the men of Israel deserted David and followed Sheba, son of Bichri. But the men of Judah stayed with their king and escorted him from the Jordan River to Jerusalem. When David came to his palace in Jerusalem, he took the 10 concubines he had left to look over the palace and placed them in seclusion. Their needs were provided for, but he no longer slept with them, so each of them lived like a widow until she died. Then the king told Amasa, Mobilize the army of Judah within 3 days and report back at that time. So Amasa went out to notify Judah, but it took him longer than the time he had been given. Then David said to Abishai, Sheba, son of Bichri, is going to hurt us more than Absalom did. Quick, take my troops and chase after him before he gets into a fortified town where we can't reach him. So Abishai and Joab, together with the king's bodyguard and all the mighty warriors, set out from Jerusalem to go after Sheba. As they arrived at the great stone in Gibeon, Amasa met them. Joab was wearing his military tunic with a dagger strapped to his belt. As he stepped forward to greet Amasa, he slipped the dagger from his sheath. How are you, my cousin? Joab said, and took him by the beard with his right hand, as though to kiss him. Amasa didn't notice the dagger in his left hand, and Joab stabbed him in the stomach with it so that his insides gushed out onto the ground. Joab did not need to strike again, and Amasa soon died. Joab and his brother Abishai left him lying there and continued after Sheba. One of Joab's young men shouted to Amasa's troops, If you are for Joab and David, come and follow Joab. But Amasa lay in his blood in the middle of the road, and Joab's man saw that everyone was stopping to stare at him. So he pulled him off the road into a field and threw a cloak over him. With Amasa's body out of the way, everyone went on with Joab to capture Sheba, son of Bichri. Meanwhile, Sheba traveled through all the tribes of Israel and eventually came to the town of Abel Beth Maachah. All the members of his own clan, the Bichrites, assembled for battle and followed him into the town. When Joab's forces arrived, they attacked Abel Beth Maachah. They built a siege ramp against the town's fortifications and began battering down the wall. But a wise woman in the town called out to Joab, Listen to me, Joab. Come over here so I can talk to you. As he approached, the woman asked, Are you Joab? I am, he replied. So she said, Listen carefully to your servant. I'm listening, he said. Then she continued, There used to be a saying, if you want to settle an argument, ask advice at the town of Abel. I am one who is peace-loving and faithful in Israel, but you are destroying an important town in Israel. Why do you want to devour what belongs to the Lord? And Joab replied, Believe me, I don't want to devour or destroy your town. That's not my purpose. All I want is a man named Sheba, son of Bichri, from the hill country of Ephraim, who has revolted against King David. If you hand over this one man to me, I will leave the town in peace. All right, the woman replied, we will throw his head over the wall to you. Then the woman went to all the people with her wise advice, and they cut off Sheba's head and threw it out to Joab. So he blew the ram's horn and called his troops back from the attack. They all returned to their homes, and Joab returned to the king at Jerusalem. Now Joab was the commander of the army of Israel. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, that's a tough one, was captain of the king's bodyguard. Adoniram was in charge of forced labor. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was the royal historian. Sheva was the court secretary. Zadok and Abiathar were the priests, and Ira, a descendant of Jair, was David's personal priest. And that's the end of chapter 20, guys. And for me, I think the reflection here is, there wasn't a great transition into chapter 20, with not much mentioning of Sheba previously and just what this looks like. It's so interesting, so that how easily the people of Israel are led astray. And I think that's just a true testament to what it's like sometimes to be a Christian as well. Sometimes I think we misunderstand our relationship with God and the frustration we have when things aren't going the way that we see, or the things aren't happening the way that we want them to, or in a timely manner the way that we require, or the way we think we require them to happen. And it's so interesting that in that frustration we withdraw from God, much like we see the Israelite people withdraw from David and all the other previous people, all the judges, King Saul. It's so interesting to me that we can often be blinded by our own selfishness, because sometimes, much like it is today, it's just easier to go with the flow, to not have to push against, the current, especially when it seems, extremely overpowering. There's a lot to say when a man feels like he has to fight against the whole world. And when you see people and God's on your side, it doesn't feel like that so much. It can be frustrating. I'll be the first to admit that there's a lot of things that I would like to go easier for myself, whether it be finances or relationship or my own fitness and health, or family's fitness and health, and raising my children and professional needs and wants and desires. When they don't go as smoothly or transition as quickly as I would like them to do, it can get discouraging. It can get discouraging, especially if you feel like you're answering a call and not knowing when the resolution of that call is to be had. That's when God's doing his best work, refining you, preparing you. And it's difficult because I find myself extremely impatient when it comes to things like that. Oftentimes there's kind of reflection where I do spend time in his word, that he speaks to me, and I don't think, not audibly, I don't hear the voice of God, but sometimes I do see his intention for my life, simply by how abrupt a door may close, or how swiftly a door may open, or a conversation had by somebody, unprompted, that just sees you and feels like they have to talk about something. And if you're not spending time with God every day in his word, you're not going to know that that's him. But I spend time every day now, and I regularly find times to where I feel like God is talking to me, and he sends me refreshing, kind words through other people, and they're so appreciated. And while they might not even know that's how God's using them, I see that, and no one could tell me any differently. I couldn't be convinced otherwise. And so it's important to me, and I think it's important that I share that with whoever wants to listen, because God has a desire to speak with you and have a relationship with you. But you got to know his language. You got to know how he wants to communicate. And so I think that's important. That's why I want to continue to read my Bible and share it with you guys, because I want to make sure that when in good times and bad times, that I'm listening for the words of my Father, so I can take greater discernment, greater instruction, increasing capacity to have the victory that he's told me I have all along. So on that note, have a good night. God bless. I love you. Jesus loves you. And I'll be back for chapter 21 of 2 Samuel tomorrow, where the header reads, "The later years of David's rule. David avenges the Gibeonites." And on that note, have a good night and God bless, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.